My life would change because of one unexpected phone call. It was a normal afternoon, and I was folding laundry at my mom's place when my phone rang. It was Mila, my childhood best friend. We hadn't spoken in months, and that alone felt strange. But what really caught my attention was her voice. It was nervous, shaky, like she was hiding something. She quickly said she just wanted to check in, but I wasn't convinced. Something didn't feel right. That call stayed in my mind for the rest of the day. Deep inside, I had a bad feeling. After the call ended, I sat quietly and thought about her. The last time I saw Mila was at my wedding. She wore a flashy dress, full makeup, and turned heads all evening. Even Johnny, my new husband, kept glancing at her. I had noticed, but I chose to ignore it then. I told myself not to overthink it. Mila was just charming, and Johnny loved me. But after that phone call, old thoughts came back. Why call me now, after months of silence? And why did she sound like someone might be listening in? I decided I had to go home. The next morning, I left the hospital where my mom was recovering and drove to the house I shared with Johnny. I hadn't been there in nearly 3 months. My stomach was in knots the entire drive. When I pulled into the driveway, my heart sank. A bright red sports car sat in my parking spot. It wasn't mine. I walked slowly to the front door, already dreading what I might find inside. As I stepped into the hallway, I saw something that made my blood run cold. High heels at the entrance. They were Mila's. I recognized them instantly. I called out Johnny's name, and he appeared in the hallway looking completely shocked. "Pearl, why are you back without telling me?" he asked. His voice was shaky. I didn't answer. I just looked at him and asked, "Where's Mila?" He started making excuses, but then Mila walked in, wearing a loose dress that made it clear she was pregnant. She looked straight at me and said it boldly, "I'm having Johnny's baby. Don't come back here." I stood there frozen for a second, expecting to feel pain, anger, something. But I felt strangely calm, like something in me had already shut off. Johnny looked nervous. "Pearl, aren't you going to say something? Aren't you angry?" I stared at him and replied, "I was shocked, yes. But angry? Not really." Mila crossed her arms, waiting for me to break down, but I didn't. "Actually," I continued, "I already have a new home." Both of them looked confused. "You what?" Johnny asked. "I've been looking for a new place ever since we argued about this old house. It's far from work, too quiet, and not good for raising a family. I was planning to move with my mom anyway." Their faces twisted with disbelief. Mila tried to stay confident. "Well, that works out fine. I love this house. It's big, quiet, and Johnny is rich. I'll make it work." She smiled like she'd won. I looked around the dusty hallway, the creaky floors, the outdated kitchen. "Then you're welcome to it," I said. "I hope you enjoy long drives to the hospital and being stuck in the middle of nowhere with no schools nearby." Mila's face twitched. She hadn't thought that far ahead. I turned to Johnny. "You made your choice. Now live with it. I'm not staying in a place I was never wanted." I left that house without looking back. I moved into a newer place with my mom. It was closer to the hospital and had everything we needed. For the first time in a while, I felt peace. No secrets, no lies, just me, my mom, and a quiet home. Then one day, I got a call from Johnny. "We're being kicked out," he said. "My uncle owns the land and wants to sell it. Did you know?" I paused, then said, "Yes, I knew. He told me before we separated." Johnny was silent. He knew I wasn't going to help him. After that, everything went downhill for them. Johnny lost his job as the company president. His uncle thought he was irresponsible and demoted him. Mila had dreamed of living in a big, fancy house. Now they were forced to move into her parents' place. I heard from friends that Mila wasn't happy. She stopped speaking to Johnny and complained constantly. I didn't feel happy about their misery, but I wasn't sorry either. I had warned Johnny. He didn't listen. Now he had to live with Mila, her growing demands, and no way to provide the life she thought she deserved. A few months later, I was at home when someone knocked at the door. It was Mila. I didn't invite her in, but she walked past me anyway. She looked just like she did before, flashy, loud, and proud. "Guess what?" she said. "My son just got into the best kindergarten in town." I forced a smile. "That's great," I replied. "Too bad you don't know much about schools, since you don't have kids," she said, smirking. "Actually," I replied, "my husband is the principal of that kindergarten." Her face dropped. I called out, and Barrett walked in, smiling warmly. "Hi there." Johnny appeared behind her, his face red with embarrassment. Barrett, my husband, recognized them from the recent school interview. "Oh, you're Christy's parents. Nice to see you again," he said politely. Mila looked stunned. "You're married to the principal?" I nodded. "We met at work during a renovation project. One thing led to another." Mila tried to smile, but I could see the panic in her eyes. "We hope this doesn't affect our son's enrollment," she said. Barrett gave a professional smile. "Let's see how he adjusts first." I could tell he had made up his mind, and it didn't favor them. Rumors spread fast in town. Parents at the kindergarten began whispering about Mila and Johnny's past. People talked about how Mila stole someone's husband and how Johnny abandoned his sick mother-in-law. In a school full of serious parents, that kind of gossip wasn't taken lightly. Other parents avoided them. Their son, Christy, had no friends and came home crying every day. Eventually, they had to pull him out. They enrolled him in a public school farther away, but the rumors followed. The community didn't forget. One day, they just vanished. No one knew where they went, and no one really asked. Months later, Mila's parents came to see me. They looked exhausted and older than I remembered. They apologized for everything. "We're sorry for what our daughter did," her father said. They told me Johnny and Mila had split. She was now living with them again, but her son didn't talk to her. "He only listens to us," her mother said sadly. I didn't know how to respond. I just nodded and thanked them for coming. I didn't feel angry anymore, just tired of the whole thing. They had broken something important. Now they were left trying to fix what couldn't be fixed. As for me, life moved forward. I had a new home, a loving husband, and a daughter. Barrett took paternity leave and helped me every step of the way. We cooked together, played with our daughter, and visited my mom every weekend. It was the kind of life I always wanted, quiet, kind, and real. I never thought I'd marry again, especially not after being betrayed by my first husband and best friend. But here I was, happy, strong, and healing. I still remembered the pain, but it didn't define me anymore. It became part of the story that made me stronger. Barrett and I built a garden behind our house. On weekends, we planted flowers and vegetables. Watching things grow felt peaceful. Our daughter loved digging in the dirt and watering the plants. My mom, now healthier, often sat outside in the sun and watched us. One afternoon, while we were planting tulips, Barrett turned to me and said, "We're really lucky, aren't we?" I smiled and said, "We are." And we worked for it. I knew that everything we had wasn't by chance. I had walked through fire to get here. And now, standing in the garden, I finally felt whole. The last I heard of Johnny, he was working odd jobs in another city. No one had seen Mila in months. It was as if they had both disappeared, erased by their own mistakes. I didn't wish them harm. I just hoped they learned something. Meanwhile, our daughter turned 4. We threw her a small birthday party with close friends and neighbors. No drama, just joy. As I watched her blow out her candles, I thought about how different things could have been. If I had stayed with Johnny, if I had kept quiet, but I didn't. And I was proud of that. Looking back, I realized that betrayal doesn't have to break you. It can be the very thing that sets you free. Johnny and Mila thought they had taken everything from me, but all they did was make room for something better. A kinder love, a stronger family, a life I chose, not one forced on me. I'm not bitter, I'm better. Every step I took after leaving that old house brought me closer to the woman I am today, confident, peaceful, and surrounded by real love. This isn't just my happy ending. It's my fresh beginning, and I wouldn't change a thing.